Hey everybody, this is Suneve or Syndicate Sammy. I'm coming back to you with Somewhere in the Snow, Eyeless Jack X Reader. Just so you know, the story is discontinued, so after 18 chapters, unfortunately, unless this dude or person, whoever they are, decide to make any more, we will be stuck with just 18. But that is okay. Um, this chapter is called Not So Nice Aria, and I am going to try to do my best. So once again, I am going to tell you now, in case anyone else watches this video that hasn't watched the last two videos for whatever reason. I am not a professional at reading these, and I will stutter probably, and I probably will mess up a lot of words. That's okay. There will probably be a profanity in this, so just a little warning tag there. But let me get started, and hopefully this is pretty decently okay. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Clang, clang. Thud, thud. You snap your eyes open. What the actual fuck was that? You wake up from your bed and pause. Am I just hearing things? You question in your mind. A few minutes passed and you didn't hear anything else. Yeah, you were definitely just tired. You let out a weird sound as you stretched and got comfortable to fall back asleep. Maybe it was just an animal. Thud, thud, thud. Okay, what the fuck was that? It sounded like it came from Dox's room. Wait, you had forgotten about the beast man that you had saved. You let out a frustrated groan and fished out your phone. It's 5:30 a.m., you thought, before getting up from your bed. You guessed that he had finally awakened from a slumber. You grab a pillow with you just in case if you had to smuggle or smother the guy or thing, or if he had tried something. And then you creeped open your room door and tiptoed across the house, all the way to Dox's room. Shuffle, shuffle, thud. This guy was either freaking out or trying desperately to get out of the chains, or maybe even both. You walked up to the door and slowly turned the doorknob. You could hear your own heart beating from your chest. You said as you peeped through the door, opening it fully. All you see is the shadow of the man. You gulp and turn on the lights. He flinched at the light and stared at you. His shoulders tensed up as if he were a cat and you tilted your head at him. What the hell do I say? Uh-oh, I found you buried in between some snow, and I think you can tell I bandaged you up. You lifted up your finger and pointed towards his chest area. He slowly turned to look down at his chest and back at you. He breathed heavily. His tense shoulders moved up and down each time he did. You both just stayed silent for a moment before he started rapidly pulling and tugging at his chains. Whoa, hey, if you wanted me to unchain you, you could have just said that, you assured him. Just promise you won't do anything, you muttered out. After all, he did try to attack you yesterday, but failed miserably. Your grip on your pillow tightened. Like you said, if he tried doing any funny business, you'll react with no hesitation, or out of pure fear. Maybe you'll wuss out and embarrass yourself. You slowly walked towards Creepy Mask there and approached the area where you set up the chains. He watched you like a hawk as you released the chains from his bedpost. You still had your pillow in hand, staying on alert. The chains made soft noises before you unchained them. See? Look, I unchained one. One left to go, and you're free? What the? You screamed when you looked up at him, seeing how he raised his free hand and tried to swipe at you once again. It felt like everything was in slow motion. Maybe this was your life flashing before your eyes? Nah. You used your other hand that held the pillow and blocked the impact of his claws. You heard a big rip as he sliced through the pillow. You rolled away from the guy before he could try and do something again. See, this is the second time you've done this. I literally saved you, you know. You scolded him once you were far from him. You cursed him out a few times, many times, but he just stared at you through his mask. It bored into your head. He looked at his other hand before reaching at it, trying to release his other hand from the chains. He realized what he was doing and rushed towards the chains you had recently removed from his hand. He saw you and tried doing his now iconic claw thingy, and you then grabbed the pillow and tried blocking it again. However, once you did, almost his whole arm went through the thing and your hand was near that spot. His claws dug into the side of your hand. It was deep and painful. Your hand flinched away before you got a hold of the chains and wrapped it around his wrist once again. You stood up and pulled as hard as you can. His hand slammed into the wooden bedpost before you quickly chained him up again. Looks like he had to cage up his legs, too. Why, why, why do you have to be so difficult? You uttered out as he held your bleeding hand. It didn't help that it spilled onto your clothes and everywhere else near you. You hissed at the pain before rushing to grab your medkit into the bathroom. Once you grabbed your medkit and went to the bathroom, you tended your wound. Looks like you had to have stitches, too. You wrapped the white, now stained red bandages around your hand you had stomped towards his room once again to clean up that whole mess. Once you were at his door, he seemed to stare at his hand. You then turned your neck to see what he was looking at, and you almost laughed out loud. You didn't seem to notice the fact the pillow was still around his arm after you chained him. But now you had another problem. Small puddles of blood stained the cream-colored pillow. Your poor pillow. You sighed before dealing with the bits onto the floor or anything wooden. Then you'll take care of the ones that was on fabric. You know, you wouldn't have to deal with a pillow and chains around your wrist if you would have just been nice. You felt like you were talking to a kid or a pet that was misbehaving. You somehow hear a very, very low grumble coming from him, and he smirked. You're not so nice, are ya? You grinned out of amusement. Right now you had the upper hand, but if he learns to try and escape out of those chains, then he would have it. Well, if you want to get out of those chains, then you'll have to behave. Your face and cheeks went loose after you said that. You were serious about it. If he kept trying to pounce on you, then it'll be more of a problem than it already was, and you didn't have the time to deal with that. He stayed silent again. You really started to think he just couldn't speak and communicate and was mute, or he just didn't want to, but it was really awkward. It felt as if you were talking to yourself. It also didn't help that he would watch every move you made. You scanned every part of the room to see if you missed any spots with your blood on it, and if you did, you would scrub it off. Once you were done with all the wood, you went on to remove the pillow that cuffed around his arm. Now, because of you, I lost a pillow. You made a humph sound as you ripped the pillow apart from his arm. The pillow tore and was removed from his arm. Also, if you try to do something again, I'll be sure to chain up your legs too, he said blankly, before throwing the ruined pillow out. Yips, howls, and barking of your dogs outside was heard. You went over to the window and pushed the curtains away. The morning sunlight and the brightness of the snow surrounding the area greeted you right in the face. You squinted your eyes to block out the brightness, and you looked at the dogs. It's not even 7 yet, and they're already hungry, you thought and sighed. They might have heard the commotion going on from the room. You turned to the man and see him looking out the window, curious of the sound. When he realized what it was, he leaned his head back as if it was saying, ew, or oh fuck no. You grinned at his reaction to the noisy dogs. Gotta get used to the dogs. Consider this a punishment if it annoys you, he spoke. Question mark, question mark, question mark, point of view. Or, now you can call him unknown. Yes, sir. I'll make sure he'll be responsible. Of course, sir. Maskey stood up from his spot, leaving the room. He didn't look back as he closed the door. There was Jeff, who leaned back on the wall next to the door. So, Jeff started, but was interrupted by the grip of Maskey as he aggressively held onto Jeff's collar. Bringing Jeff away from the wall he was leaning on to another. The force slammed onto Jeff's back from the wall Maskey had pushed him into. His grip still on Jeff's collar, Maskey's grip tightening as his leather gloves made a squeaking sound. Do you have any idea of how much trouble you're in, and in fact the trouble you put us all in? Maskey shouted. Both Jeff and Maskey just stayed in that same position, silent, as they both had a threatening staring contest. Jeff scoffed and raised his hands up in defeat. Maskey let go before Jeff put his hands down and walked away. Take Smile with you, Maskey muttered, before walking the opposite direction. Jeff mumbled curses at Maskey, but Maskey ignored him. As Jeff walked throughout the mansion, he whistled a Smile. Smile panted and he rushed towards Jeff's side. Let's get this over with, Jeff stated blankly. Smile let out a single bark before walking out the mansion with Jeff. I really need my eye drops, Jeff said. He watched you through the window as you did your daily routine with all your dogs. He felt uneasy. He watched you make the dogs food, feed them. He watched you scoop their poop, everything. You would feel his stare go away once in a while, but then come back to bore into your back. You began to feel hungry after all the shit you had to deal with, like very, very hungry. Once you were done, you went inside to change into your normal clothes and to check on the guy. He sat up from the bed. He didn't glance at you, his face still fixed onto the window. Maybe he wanted to get out. You started feeling bad, but it was risky to let him out. Who knows what will happen if you did? Shit, maybe if he had some friends, he was going to tell them about your existence. Maybe they'll hunt you down or something. You shake off those imaginary thoughts before speaking to him again. So, what do you like to eat? That is the end of the chapter there. Author note is two new arrivals. Yep, that's it. Let me see. So that's the end of that. It did not say that it switched over to the POV of the reader, but that is okay. I'm guessing you guys assumed that. This video is only about 10 minutes long so far, but I will be recording and posting the second part for the next chapter. It wouldn't be a second part, it'd be a fourth part, wouldn't it? It would. Next chapter after this one would be called Who Could That Be? Um, well, that was quick. Nice. Well, you guys have a wonderful time. I will be heading out. Have a good one.